This summer, I took the longest vacation I've ever taken in my life, 3 weeks in England and Scotland. It was a lot of time to be away from work and a lot of hard-earned cash spent in one place. There's always something that has fascinated me about these countries, from the movies and books I grew up with to the influencers I was convinced I could be friends with. But the final push, the real draw, was the English countryside. Or, when it comes down to it, my infatuation with the cottagecore trend. Now, cottagecore isn't a new trend. It's been around for a while now. Amelia Hall wrote for The Guardian that cottagecore is designed to fetishize the wholesome purity of the outdoors. It evokes a dreamy fairy tale aesthetic with white flowy dresses, loose hair, and wicker baskets filled with wildflowers. There's a big emphasis on gardening, animals, and slow, simple living. It's like a nostalgic return to rural life where you plant your own vegetables, bake your own bread, and sew your own clothes. While idyllic versions of the countryside have been around for centuries, the term cottagecore emerged on Tumblr around 2018, and the pandemic proliferated its popularity. By June 2020, the cottagecore hashtag garnered 252 million views on TikTok. People who lived in shoebox apartments in urban areas were forced to stay inside, and they spent a lot more time on their phones. Cottagecore gave them an opportunity to escape to a time when COVID didn't exist, when you could walk to the land where your food was grown and frolic in endless meadows along the way. The release of Animal Crossing: New Horizons and Taylor Swift's surprise albums Folklore and Evermore were also contributors to the rise of the sourdough starter that was cottagecore. They all conjured images of stripped-down, cozy comfort. So what does cottagecore have to do with the UK? Symbols of the English countryside show up a lot in the trend, like Beatrix Potter, rustic stone houses, and Victorian-inspired outfits. The bonus track, off of Folklore, is named after the Lake District in England. Pride and Prejudice? Big cottagecore energy. My first encounter with cottagecore was on TikTok, and I'm not the only one who was booked a flight because of a 15-second vertical video. 35% of respondents to a US study said they have traveled to a new destination after watching a TikTok about it. Social media platforms like TikTok and Instagram are extremely visual and constantly updated, so it makes sense that people draw travel inspiration from there. The problem is how social media romanticizes idealized versions of these destinations. Kyle Chayka wrote for The New Yorker that TikTok is a platform that runs on vignettes, superficial flashes of discrete sensation. B-roll of someone posing outside of a thatched roof cottage in a Reformation dress doesn't show the closets full of spiders or grass dotted with sheep dung. TikToker Marcus Romisher highlights what it's actually like to visit social media hotspots in his Insta versus reality series. Social media tourism impacts the locals as well, especially in small communities. Siegel et al. Wrote in a 2023 paper that social media-induced travelers often fail to connect with the destination and local culture due to a hyper-focus on their self-presentation-based photo-taking endeavors. These travelers devote more attention to their technological devices and online interfaces than to forming an authentic connection with the destination, which alters the experience of place for both themselves and the host community. Czech tourists in Bali landed in hot water when one splashed holy water on her bare ass and posted the video to Instagram. In response, the Balinese government unveiled new guidelines for tourists this year, one of which outlaws taking pictures with immodest clothes or no clothes. Austria also launched an Enjoy Vienna, not #Vienna campaign to encourage visitors to disconnect from their phones. Now, I think TikTok and Instagram can be really helpful research tools to find recommendations for restaurants and things to do in a city. But more and more often, people travel just to make content to portray themselves in a certain light. In a 2018 survey, 29% of millennials said they wouldn't go on holiday if they couldn't post about it on social media. The downside of having high-quality cameras and lots of storage on phones is that you can spend forever clamoring to get the perfect shot. When I was at the Victoria and Albert Museum in London, I saw two people taking photos of each other in the same spot for literal hours. I'm not trying to be like, look up from your damn phones and live in the moment, But I do think we should be conscious of how online travel content affects our perception of ourselves and our connection to a place. I definitely felt shitty about myself when photos I took didn't live up to the ones I saw on TikTok and Instagram. I spent more time than I should have choosing which photos and videos to post to my story and in which order. I fixated on who was responding to my stories and how many reactions I got. At the end of the day, I'm really lucky and privileged to have been able to go on this trip. I had an amazing time and I'm so grateful that I went. Instagram allowed me to stay connected with my friends while I was in another country, and it was validating. It reminded me that I'm important to people. For now, I'm taking a break from social media, so maybe I'm emulating the cottagecore lifestyle after all.